with MakingStarWars.net.
Hey, YouTube.com. I'm Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net. And just really quickly, wanted to jump on, talk about a couple of things before it got too late. And up front, I was on Santa's show earlier, and we discussed a rumor that Roken and Reva were married. And I like entertained it for the speculation in the moment, and someone thought I was confirming that theory or rumor. And I was like, no, not at all. In fact, I'll just throw it out there that I was talking to a source very recently, and I asked about that concept. I was like, there's nothing like that in there, right? There's no like twist like that. And they're like, not in this season. So I can confirm that's not a thing, for what it's worth. Not a thing. It's a fun concept, but if you look at it, the actor who's probably Reva in the beginning of the Jedi Purge at the start of Order 66 in episode 1 is probably about 11 or 12 years old. So Reva would only have to have been an Inquisitor for maybe a year, had been married for only a year. Like, it's really, there's not a lot of time to really play with to make that very malleable and make it work. So even with that, it's almost impossible, I would say. If she's a little girl at the beginning, there's just not really a lot of time. But I'm pretty sure she is the little girl at the beginning, for what it's worth. That's still open to speculation, though. So I'm not, going to die on a hill. It's that being a truth or whatever. And then, then I also looked into if any more. I tried to get any more sources who would say that, because we had like two avenues here about how things go in the next episode. And one was that Obi-Wan Kenobi goes into the Bacta tank, and that's it. The other one was he encounters the children or the Force users, and they help heal Kenobi and rejuvenate him. And when I was talking to a source today about that, they do not believe that the Force healing thing is in the next episode. Once again, say it's rad, said it's a really good episode, but nothing about the Force healing kind of that concept. So I think that may have been a misconception by somebody who was filming on that. So I'm just gonna throw that out there and say, if I had to bet, I'm gonna bet that's the end of Kenobi's healing now, and Reva and Roken weren't married, unless they do another season, and then that becomes a thing. And then there was like another rumor going on saying that they're doing a Reva show, and I don't know anything about that. Like, truly don't know anything about a Reva concept show or anything like that. The only thing that I do know is that Disney is convinced that there's going to be a second season, but the one thing I could not get confirmed is season 2 going to be called Reva? I don't know. Is it going to be called Kenobi 2? I don't know. Like, I don't think they know. So in my opinion, I don't know where the other rumor started, where it comes from, so I'm not trying to debunk anybody else's stuff, but they may be saying the same thing I'm saying, just in a different way. And they may be assuming that it's going to be the Reva angle. I don't really think that there's a Reva angle to it, personally. Not to say that Reva won't be in it, because I believe that she survives and goes on with an open-ended fate. So that could happen. And I'm also going to throw it out there. Maybe they will do a big twist. Maybe Roken and Reva were together, because to the best of my knowledge, though, for what it's worth, Roken and Reva, I don't think they have any scenes together. I don't think they have any moments together. I don't think they see each other. I could be wrong about that, but I am fairly certain that they don't. So if people start shipping those characters, so to speak, maybe that will be what they go with, but I don't think that's a season 1 plan. So, and then on a side note, the ratings of the show are actually like pretty good. The third, I don't think there's really solid stuff for the fourth. The third one has a drop from the first two, but it's not a ridiculous drop. It's a pretty small drop, and that's pretty much the way that this works. Because if you took 100 people and showed them a show, not all 100 people are going to like it, so you're going to have a drop off. And but the article that's been going around, this has been going around with preliminary numbers for a few days, but the Hollywood Reporter finally did it today and said Stranger Things, Obi-Wan Kenobi rack up huge premiere audiences. And by the way, like I said earlier, I like both shows. Okay, I think they're both cool, but there's a lot of big differences between Kenobi, Disney Plus, and Stranger Things with Netflix. Netflix has way more subscribers. It's been around forever. All of the numbers for Stranger Things are for all 4 seasons, and more episodes dropped at once for the new season. Whereas Kenobi only has 2 episodes. It's not like they're counting all the Star Wars streaming numbers together for Kenobi. So like you'll see people, the grifter types, or the types that just want to, take really saucy angles to make it like into a thing. I personally don't really give a shit like what the numbers are, but if you're going to use the numbers in an argument against me in the comment sections of the videos, then I'm going to have to correct it, just because I'm an idiot and I engage when I shouldn't. But Hollywood Reporter writes, season 4 of Stranger Things has a massive premiere weekend audience on Netflix, scoring one of the biggest viewings time figures of the past 2 years. But it wasn't the only big TV opening for Memorial Day weekend. Obi-Wan Kenobi, the latest Star Wars series on Disney Plus, more than held its own, according to Nielsen's data for May 27th to the 29th. Viewers spent some 5.1 billion minutes watching Stranger Things. So 5.1 billion minutes. But remember, Stranger Things had the whole season drop the week of May 23rd, marking only the 4th time since it's ever happened. The 5.1 billion minutes encompass all episodes of the series, not just the 7 episodes of season 4. Also remember that Stranger Things episodes are like an hour and a half sometimes, or over an hour, whereas the Kenobi episodes are around the 45-minute mark. Though Nielsen notes that the 7 episodes of season 4 accounted for 4 billion of those minutes, so 4 billion for that season, nearly 80% of the total. Netflix's internal measurement had season 4 of Stranger Things scoring the best premiere weekend ever for an English language series. So that's great. That's really good for Stranger Things, like the series, so I'm glad to see it doing well. Obi-Wan Kenobi, meanwhile, clocked in at 1 billion minutes for its first 2 episodes. Remember, like 2 episodes together are as long as 1 episode of Stranger Things, pretty much, becoming only the 3rd Disney Plus series after The Mandalorian and Loki to reach that mark. So that's better than Boba Fett, for the record. That it did so with just those 2 installments is all the more remarkable. The others had at least 5 episodes streaming while they crossed the billion-minute line. Also, length. So the disparity in viewings for the 2 shows isn't a surprise, given that Nielsen measurements all episodes of a series in its streaming rankings. Stranger Things has released 32 episodes as of May 27th, with just 2 for Obi-Wan Kenobi. So basically, we could go on, but this is all in the Hollywood Reporter. Like I said, there's a drop in the 3rd episode, but that is completely normal. That's how this goes. So yeah. So anyways, so if you're wondering how the show's doing, it appears to be doing pretty well. It appears to be performing, and when we look at the show, like critically, for instance, and how it looks or something like that, remember that it's the same. The budget for Boba, well, this is, and then the budget for this, they kind of look like they're about the same to me. I could be wrong. I don't know. We don't know what the budget officially is, but we do have better numbers, so that's good, especially because they were happy internally with the numbers for Book of Boba Fett. Heard they weren't so happy with what it became, but Brennan says, I think that Roken was married to Haja, who was in Ned B. Yeah, that's possible though. Aria, I thought Reva was married to Tor Valum. Sorry, I'm going insane at this point, and that's okay. That's okay. I understand that you got Tor Valum on the brain. Hey, Master Binks. This is very possible, but man, I just hope not, because it would make some of the leaks true that she turns to the light, but I hope this isn't the case. Well, I'm only going to speak for my leaks. Like when I was looking up trying to find a picture of Roken right now for the featured image, and it's like all of the leaks about Roken were better than what we got, and I was like, guys, like Roken's next episode is like the big episode, like that's a bigger Roken episode. So then I go and I look, and they're like talking about him being that one Jedi, the Jedi dude. And I'm just like, that was never a legitimate thing. That was just some shit you guys made up. You know what I mean? It was just wild. I was like, that was never like a real leak or a real rumor. That's just you guys going, oh, it must be him. And like I said, when you see him in the episode, does that look like him? It doesn't. But yeah, but I can tell you that the ending is going to be what I said. The only difference is that the ending isn't going to have her die now. She does not die. So how long are the flashbacks, Johannes? I don't actually know. I know what happens in them. So, but I can't tell you, how long it is. But like I said, I think it's going to be, I'm realistically expecting it to probably be about 3 minutes long. That seems to be, it could be about 3 minutes long. That's what I would say. I mean, like I said, you have Obi-Wan meditating, then you have Anakin and Obi-Wan with sword play, lightsaber fighting, I should say. And then they are like, they're sizing each other up. They're saying like, here's where your weakness is. Here's what yours is. And it's a nice moment. They're having a good like interplay, but then Kenobi's able to ascertain some weakness from that. That's what I know. So anyway, so I'm not expecting it to be like super long. I wouldn't expect it to be like 20-minute flashback. I wouldn't expect all of a sudden then it to turn into like a Clone Wars mini-sode. Like that's not good. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's just going to simply be that scene. That's the scene as I generally describe it. But it could be, maybe it'll be 5 minutes, but I'm expecting it to be about 3 minutes. And that's not me telling anybody what it's going to be, because I just know what happened. I don't know what like the length is. Nobody told me like, hey, it's a 5-minute scene. And then I'm telling you guys that. I'm just telling you guys that that's the main flashback. That's the big visual effects thing that went into this next episode for the flashback. And that's like, most of it. So yeah, don't expect too much or you're going to be disappointed, but also, it's going to be pretty neat though. Arya says, I confirm that the child in that tomb we saw was the exact kid with Reva during Order 66. So Reva got her friend killed. Interesting. Yeah. So it is the same kid. Yeah, we had to look up the kids earlier today. Me and Bestman were having a conversation about it, and we were like, he looked it up actually, and it was about how the kid's like too young. Like it's unlikely that the marriage thing would actually make sense, considering that the kid is about 11 years old who plays young Reva, which would put Reva around 21 years old in the episodes that we're seeing. So, I mean, I don't know. It's Jedi times. I don't know. Maybe you get married, but I don't think so. Hey, how's it going, Soundwave? Thank you for being a channel member, and thanks to everybody who's a channel member who can be one, and for liking the video and supporting the show. I appreciate it. Hey, Ben, how's it going, dude? You missed a lot, dude. It was really, really crazy in here. Neil says, thanks for coming back on, Jason. Of course, Neil. Yeah, always jump on whenever I can. Sorry I had to jump off so quick earlier today. I was like, oh yeah, I started the show late and I had to do something. I was like, oh no. Star Wars HD. Is there any other unexpected surprises that could be in Kenobi? I mean, once again, the classic question, how do I know what I don't know? Right? So I think I know the main things, but also like, could there be surprises? There like definitely could be. I mean, like for instance, the Jedi who were inside the Amber that Arya just brought up, right? Well, it was a surprise to me that one dude from the Clone Wars was there, right? Like that was cool. It was a cool callback. Most of my sources had no idea who that was. They had no idea that was like a thing. So nobody knew to tell me because nobody's like, oh God, it's the Clone Wars guy. Like that's just like me for the most part. So it's like there could be little surprises. I would think so, and I would hope so. Also, I hit up sources again about the end duel, and all I keep hearing is it's on a moon of Mustafar, and it's like the set is not really it's different. It's a different set, but it's not really that different from the set that we got before. It's like kind of like moon with rocks and stuff. I'm like, okay, so that's what I know about like the end duel setting, and because I wasn't sure, but that's what I'm hearing. So we'll see what happens. But for all I know, it's way more fascinating than that. And when we see it, it'll be more fascinating. Like there's just like things with the show that, like, for instance, if I hadn't heard this stuff from like crew members, I wouldn't even know. Like when they get to Jabim and they're in the sinkhole, you don't really get the sense that you're in a sinkhole unless you look. I mean, you could see it, you could figure it out, but when I say it, it's way clearer. I mean, like when then it's way more obvious. But I think if I didn't know that and I watched the episode, I wouldn't know that their like base was a sinkhole, you know. So and so like people were asking me like, what does Jabim look like? And I'm like, I don't really know. I try to get information on what does Jabim look like. Couldn't really get very much. And like when you see what we see there, kind of makes more sense maybe about as to why. Hey, nice getting off work, Luke. Yeah, dude. I hope it was a good day, man. Hey, Miss Sunflower. People are going to be mad that Kenobi is doing well. Oh well, good. That sounds like their problem, but I'm glad it's doing well. The only thing, there's elements that I want to where I want it to get better, and the truth is I think if the show does well, the next shows are likely to look better or feel better or be better. I don't know if I don't think it's going to send like the wrong message, like, oh, the show did well, so it can look worse. I think the shows are doing well, which will allow the creatives to innovate and push technology further and improve the looks of the show even further than what they are. And they do hear our criticisms. So I hope that they, are taking those to heart, because that is my only my really big criticism of Boba Fett and Kenobi is just like the expositional transitions could be a lot better, could be a little bit more cinematic at times. Luke says, what people aren't realizing is that we're getting Hayden probably in the flashback as a Force ghost in the Ahsoka show. So I'm not complaining at all that we're not getting a ton of Hayden. Yeah, that's the thing is, though, we're going to get this flashback in this episode. So Hayden's going to have a scene as Anakin speaking. Like that is going to happen. And then we're going to also go during the duel. The mask is broken. We're going to see his face again with the Vader mask in the fight. So it's like when you start to look at it, though, like Hayden's all over the show. So if people like really want, I mean, I'm sure people wanted more. I'm sure some fans wanted more. But I mean, like at this point, I don't feel like they were like, oh, we forgot about Hayden. Like I think that they really are putting him, throughout it, and I think they're doing it in pretty appropriate ways. I don't feel like it's like shoehorned usually, I don't feel like it's cheap. But I'm liking the show a lot, so that's my take. Ben says, I just have to say, I wish we would get more of the fifth brother laugh out loud. I don't know what it is, but I like his character. I'm glad you're liking it. That's probably my least favorite character in the show right now. Yeah, just I don't know. It just Reva is very serious, and it's hard because he looks comical to me. He's very memeable. Blake Davison says, hey Jason, stopping by for a quick second before I play Battlefront 2 with a buddy. Thanks for all your hard work. Kenobi is fun and it rules. Star Wars makes me happy. That is all. That's the right attitude, Blake. Have fun. Don't let anybody get you down. Keep having a good time. That's what I say. Is there any chance we get Quinlan Voss? I am going to say probably no chance. Would love to be wrong, but from what I know, no chance. Would be cool. I would love to see Voss. I'm hoping that everyone talking about Voss from this makes them go, we need to get one of these Jason Momoa looking dudes that everybody's like either wants to be or wants to be with, and make that person Voss and get the show on the road, because I think that would be smart. And I think that Voss has I like Voss. And Voss, I mean, I don't know if they're going to do it, but he would be great in the Andor series, because they did so much development of him as a spy in the Dark Horse comic stuff. That was pretty fun. And I could see that character during the dark times being a spy, and there being some kind of crossover between Andor and Kenobi, especially since Andor will be finished, and by the time they would ever start a Voss show or a Voss series or miniseries or anything like that, as will Kenobi. So they would be able to interface that pretty well if they ever wanted to. Hey, Maximus, cheers. Cheers, buddy. What the hell's going on? Just get Star Wars HD. Also, do you know any big Andor plot leaks? Don't know a lot of the Andor stuff, honestly. Everything about Andor that I knew was like just very, very general, And I think the trailer pretty much did most of like the most common things. I have some like set photos I might be able to show one day, asking for permission to that, to show some of that stuff. But right now, nothing that I could like really get into. Sets look really good though. Luke says, I also think we're going to see Luke and Ahsoka meeting in a flashback in Ahsoka. I'm glad that even though we're not getting Rangers, we're getting Skeleton Crew. So yeah, my take right now is based off of the fact that like, and once again, I'm not claiming to know everything or to even know a lot, okay? But what I am trying to say is that with Ahsoka, I haven't heard very much on Thrawn, but I've heard stuff about Ezra. And then I heard the stuff about the Darth Vader crew being put back together to get back together to work and bring Darth Vader to a show very, very soon, is what I was told. And here we are. Ahsoka's filming. It makes the most sense. So I'm starting to think we might see that temple scene with Darth Vader and Ahsoka from Rebels with Ezra in it. And then that might be how they are explaining things, and it would, kind of give us a sense that Ahsoka knows Vader, who Ezra is. That one moment made in live action, with some other connective tissue, obviously, but in a flashback sort of scenario, or Ahsoka's telling the story to somebody kind of moment, could really inform general audiences about what they missed in Rebels that they need to know here. So Borat says, my wife, as you should, Borat. Arya says, remember episode 3 ending with fire and how it ruined the whole episode for people? I think episode 5 ending with Reva telling Kenobi about the info she knows will ruin it for some, the Luke stuff. Yeah, let's not worry about them though. Those people who want things ruined for themselves are just going to ruin it for themselves, I mean, like I said, I can't say too much. I know people who've seen the next episode and they were elated. Like really, like I am super excited for the next episode because it's supposed to be pretty rad. So I'm really hoping that their opinion is accurate. But we will see. We're not very far off already. The week's going to go fast and we'll end up there. But it does sound like it's really good. I'm not trying to cheerlead to get people to watch it or anything like that, but also like, the people that are generally throwing the biggest fits about Obi-Wan, they're just always throwing a fit about something. It's like some Snyderverse thing, or it's some fucking Batman is this, or it's always something. And so that right now they're just focused on Obi-Wan because it had a really big week. It's a really big show, and so it just is what it is. But don't worry about him. Just have fun yourself. So I say. Neil says, Jason, you said they hear our criticisms. Is that just the way of reading critic reviews, or do you think they have people actually paying attention to YouTube channels, etc.? Yeah, like they, everyone involved with the show, at most levels, check out shows and see what people are saying. and they're curious about it, so they do hear it. And obviously sometimes they can hear it incorrectly, or if like for instance, the worst kind of thing that could happen, just going to throw it out there, let's say some people went and like race baited and made Reva like a race issue and hit that hard really fast and made it sound like it, all that kind of stuff, right? Then Reva comes out, and not saying she's good or bad or anything like that, let's just pretend she's like a meh kind of character. Well, now the meh criticisms are behind this fucked up wall of racism, and it's like, well, how do you separate where the person was being sexist or racist and where the criticism lies of it just wasn't very intriguing, she just doesn't really work, or here's why she doesn't work. Because like, when the main criticism is she's getting in the way of me and my boys, like that's not really going to lead to anything. So like that kind of criticism, like I think that's where sometimes you see like the people who make it and the people involved at Lucasfilm kind of shrug it off. So that kind of shit not only is bad for our culture, our world, our lives, but it also gets in the way of actually like getting into like true criticisms about why things didn't work, and them hearing it, and like even, I mean, I'm nobody, but I've had it where I've had people send like emails in about certain things that were like incredibly racist and terrible, right? And then when somebody comes in, they're like, I don't like this because of, I don't like this one thing. It can be easy to like jump into the mindset that person is like the racist person who sent the email. And when you have that happen over and over again, sometimes it just gets in the way, and it makes it really hard to like just hear criticism like for what it is. And because like I know like Reva, for instance, isn't working for everybody legitimately. And But at the same time, we end up in a weird spot because before anybody even saw anything about her, some people were already milking that, But anyways, Hello Me says the fifth brother is weird and I love weird things. Yeah, it is. It's just like to me, he's just like almost like always like God damn it, Reva, shit, like all the time. And it almost feels comical to me at times. And he doesn't really feel very scary because he hasn't really done anything scary. Like he seems kind of very reasonable, even like, hey, we don't have to cut off people's hands. We could just tell them, hey, we're your friends, help us. Those aren't your friends. And then like he's kind of pragmatic, right? But I don't know. But I guess I did like the moment when he's holding Reva with the Force. That was kind of fun, but also, kind of feel like I don't know if it was backed up. I don't know. I'll think about it. Hello Me. Does this mean we might get Revan with his 2 lightsabers, or maybe another character with a purple one? I have no idea. Yeah. I have no idea. Blake says, is it just me, or does it make sense for Vader to be an Andor? Obviously not by a lot by any means, but at least a little. Like I was trying to say this earlier, like everyone, will be like, well, here's some narrative thing that we could like add to make Vader work with flashbacks. And I'm just like, yeah, that's so complicated. Like that's you've already made it where it seems unlikely that it's going to work or it's going to happen. But the thing about Vader is, how many times can Vader come in and say, you failed me for the last time. If you mess up again, I'm going to kill you with my Force powers. Like, how many times can we have that before Darth Vader's Dark Lord of the Sith becomes Darth Vader Imperial Manager, and that's all he does? I kind of like, I could see him showing up and things like that, and I'm not even saying I don't want to see him, but I do think that we are up against too much Darth Vader using the wrong way, and where it just starts to become like, like I said, like he's just doing tasks of telling people they're inefficient. I mean, to me, not really that into it. That's why I like if the Ahsoka thing turns out how I think it is, then I'm like, that's Vader doing something, right? Not there to tell somebody they're inefficient. But after Kenobi, I'm pretty good And Return of the Jedi. I'm pretty good with hearing Vader tell people that they need to be more productive, you know. But that's just me, maybe. But Star Wars HD says, I really want to see more Knights of Ren. I always found that they didn't do enough with the characters. I know they really didn't. They shouldn't have been in 9. I think 9 devalued them. I would rather be bitching right now that they should have put them in 9 because it would have been so cool than to have them in 9 and they pretty much just strike a pose on a mountain, you know? Master Bing says, this episode will start making sense of all the pieces the show has given us. Yes, it definitely will. Real Ben Maynard says, I agree on negative people. One of my best friends keeps trying to tell me about all the negative people. And I'm like, I don't care. I love the show. Yeah, for the most part. Like I was telling you, like it's like Qui-Gon says, your focus determines your reality. And if you focus on those negative people, then that's going to be something that's going to start to ruin your enjoyment. And also, you know, like I'm not necessarily saying you, Ben, but it's just like, you know, for the most part, just like what you like and don't really, you know, don't give a fuck what if anybody else likes it at all, you know. Check out interesting music. That's what I say. Aria says, I watched Transformers yesterday. I'm not kidding. I think that Michael Bay would be perfect for a war show. We truly need one. He is so different. Talent that Star Wars needs. Man, Aria, I respect you, Aria, but you have lost me on that one. Darren says, hey, Jason, 5:24 a.m. What better way to wake up than whoa, that early though? I don't know, man. I wouldn't want to see this face in the morning, but good morning, Darren. Lord Tasman says they watch YouTube. They know. Pablo certainly knows. Sure. Whoa, my chat just jumped. All right. Eileen says, I was kind of hoping Ray comes out of the last episode. Like little baby Ray? Because this is way before. If we're talking about Kenobi. Like she's not born for like years later. Hello, me. Fifth brother is like a snake. Yeah, kinda. Or a principal. It kind of seems like he would be a principal out of Star Wars high school to me. Star Wars HD. I would love a Knights of Ren video game. Yeah, that would probably be the best place to like do that kind of stuff, you know? Because like, you know, at the end of the day, like they're just the kind of like a gang of bikers almost, but Star Warsy. So how deep can you get into that with Star Wars where it's like a narrative that works for everybody, but a video game, you could definitely do it. And you could also, you know, I think that it like the story of Kylo Ren becoming one of them would probably be really great in a AAA video game like Fallen Order, you know, that kind of thing. That would be a great place to tell that story more than a Disney Plus series for the most part, probably. Mark says prequel lovers are hating on the Kenobi dialogue, even though the prequel dialogue wasn't anything special either. Yeah, I think those people are just were just weirdos. I love the prequels and I love this. I think this. I'm as a guy. Revenge of the Sith is my favorite Star Wars movie, and I love it. I really do. And I think that this one. I think this show is. I think anybody that's gonna try to like juxtapose Star Wars against itself, like that's a weird thing. And you know, if you're the kind of person who's like George Lucas is my only Star Wars, then that's cool. You know, so go do that, you know, leave everybody else alone. That's what I say. Darren says, already seen 4 Star Wars hate channels jumping on the latest article that Reva show is greenlighted and using it to mash on her on Lucasfilm. More grifting. It gets boring seeing these videos pop up. Yeah. Just don't watch them. I mean, that's the best thing that you can do. You know, just don't watch them. And I really, truly do not believe that that's what's happening at this time. To the best of my knowledge, anyways. You know, it's been a few days since I talked to people who would know, and so it would had to have really changed like in the last 5 days, probably. I don't think it has. Real Ben Maynard says the only Reva hiccup for me was the interrogation scene. Other than that, I like her. My only scene I really don't really dig is when the fifth brother is like threatening to kick her ass, kind of in like in that little sideway. I think it was in episode 1. You know, we kind of like pulls her aside. I don't know, just didn't really care for it. Imagine if Kenobi was directed by Bryce Dallas. Did we overestimate Deborah, or is the editor writer's fault? Can't tell. Well, I mean, it depends on what you're talking about, honestly. I really don't think the writers are at fault. Sometimes I think that the show is not excelling in the visual effects area, and maybe it's because of a lack of maybe it's that like Deborah Chow hasn't done a lot of spaceship work and blockbuster movie kind of stuff, and so it doesn't feel like it. But like when you get into like basic like gunplay, it's great. When you get into like the actual just scenes themselves, everything's fine. To me, everything, it's like the only place I have the problems is in the transitionary stuff and chases. Chilean Airways, the Batman used a similar volume and it looked pretty cinematic. I don't understand what happened in Kenobi. It feels so small in scope and limited. There's a big difference, I think. Well, number one, there's a big difference. Batman probably has a lot more money than an episode of Kenobi, but also like from what I know, I don't know everything about the making of Batman, so I don't want to overspeak on that. Okay, but the thing, like I know, like the volume was like the rooftop with the rooftop stuff, which is like a rooftop set with the city in the periphery, and so I don't really think that that's necessarily like as intense. And I think it used the volume, but I don't think it was completely all in the volume. Whereas Star Wars is a lot of it's in the volume, like a lot. So, but I could be wrong. I would need to like really dig into the making of the Batman. But I love the Batman. I love the movie. It's probably my favorite Batman movie, honestly, since the '89 Batman. You know, I'm not saying it's the best Batman or whatever, but for me, I like '89 Batman, the Batman, and the Dark Knight. That's where I would put them. That just has to do with the movies I could if I wanted to watch them. I don't really go with what's when I go to film school and I'm a big boy, what's the one I'm going to imitate? Like I don't really look at it like that. Look at it like which one do I want to watch? And that's kind of where I'm at with them. Thomas says my big fear too is these a-holes who thrive on the clickbait actually make these real world issues go so far up it affects story. I hope the ending wasn't altered because it would have been a PR nightmare. Neil says, I think you're spot on regarding Vader, Jason. I'll always love the character, but his force choke routine is beginning to be stretched a bit thin. Yeah, like we've seen it. Like we know what it is. We know what it is so well that if something, even the littlest tiny detail is off, we know. So yeah, but I'm glad I'm glad I'm communicating my ideas and you agree. Thomas Ross, as example, I don't remotely mind Reva. In fact, she's interesting. But the idea of a no loose ends ending made so much sense. Yeah, well, that's the thing is it's not. I don't think it's. I don't want to say like, like nobody knows what happened to Reva. Like I don't mean to like say that. I mean that she goes on. She lives and she moves on to go on with her life in some way. And so like in terms of this story is still going to be contained. It just think of it like the Batman when Catwoman leaves at the end. It's probably more like that. Arias is looking back at it. They truly could have added Rey's parents or Rey herself as a child in the show. So no, this is like she's not that old. Rey's only like 19 to 20 years old. I want to say in the movie and Force Awakens. And that's like 30 years after Return of the Jedi. It's like 25 to 33 years after Return of the Jedi. And she's born. So she's not born until like Mando times. So in terms of Kenobi, can't do it. Elaine says, Rey could use the world between worlds to save Kenobi. The thing about the world between worlds, though, is it's not, I don't think it's true time travel. Like it's one of those things where if something happens using the world between worlds, it always happened. So, if my understanding of it is correct, it doesn't seem like when like they hear something, they go, "What was that?" And then they look over there. That's because it did happen. It's yeah, it's too convoluted for Star Wars, in my opinion. Hello, me. Hot takes, but prequels over the OT. I'm gotta be honest with you guys. I love all the Star Wars movies. I really do. Like, it's my favorite thing. But I probably do watch the prequels more than the original trilogy in the last 20 years. That's probably true. But I also have to confess, I have watched the movies a lot less in the last few years because of all of the stuff that's constantly hitting. There's always a theatrical movie. So when I go to put something on, I usually watch the newest movie, and then the series started and I'm watching those. So it's a little bit weird, Wish I had all the time in the world just to be able to watch it and stuff. But Captain Rex says, "Are we going to get badass Vader scene like Rogue One? Any info on that?" Well, we're gonna have the actual duel at the end of this series, like between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, and it's supposed to be really badass. Will it be? I'll let you decide after you see it, Captain. But and I'm hoping it is, but I haven't seen it, so I can't throw it out there. I can't tell you. Wish I did see it though. Mark says, so how good are the numbers on Kenobi? I wonder if the viewership is more or less stable or if it's growing. Well, that's the thing is like, I don't have the article up now, but in the third episode, there was a drop. It was a small drop. I from memory, I want to say it was like 10% or something like that, but it's like literally like how it works for every show. Because you like I said, the numbers don't grow right away on the second episode. Like, it takes a little bit of time, and then it'll grow a viewership. But it has really healthy numbers to start with, so you can conclude that people will finish it. It's not a very long investment either. So we'll have to see though. We'll have to see what it ends up by, like the 6th episode or whatever. But yeah, but it started well, and it was having good reviews until they got bombed by the weirdos. Miss Sunflower says, I unsubscribed from a lot of YouTube channels because they're bringing my hype down with this show. Also, I don't like hate watching. Waste of time and energy. Yeah, I agree. I would rather just watch the shows that I like than watch people not like the shows I like. I mean, for the most part, and as long as also sincerity matters. Like, if you think the person's being sincere and not liking it, then you can hear what they had to say and then go, oh, okay, doesn't work for them. Interesting. But sincerity and YouTube don't necessarily go hand in hand. Real Ben Maynard says, I say it every week, I miss Star Wars in the theaters. Me too. And when it does come back to the theaters, I want it to look really, really good. Good move, Miss Sunflower. Yeah. I'm not trying to tell you guys unsubscribe to people and only subscribe to me. I don't really believe in that kind of stuff. Like, a lot of people have this perspective that there's only so much of a pie, and like I said, there's enough room for everybody to do fine. But just focus on what you like. That's what I say. Chris says, I appreciate your racial nuances when measuring Reva performance, but Lucasfilm PR definitely had race card ready to go. Moses' statements prejudging Star Wars fandom seemed tone deaf. No, that wasn't what that was. In my opinion, no. Because what they did was they told her, look, when you come into this, you're going to be exposed to a huge amount of people. And in that huge amount of people are some pretty terrible people. And they're going to try to get you to quit social media, and they're going to stalk you and bother you, and it's going to be shitty. That part is going to be shitty. And that is just the truth. It doesn't even matter it doesn't matter where you are, what size you are. That's going to, with Star Wars, there's so many weirdos. I've had my own weirdos, and I'm not in a Star Wars show, in a Star Wars movie. So I definitely see where they were coming from and why they told her that. And then the harassment started, and she fucking called it out, which I think was perfectly fine for her to do. I liked it when Ewan McGregor stood up for her too. I will say, when you look at Fox News, though, they went and covered Star Wars as a brand, and they're like, oh, well, when you guys took Finn off of the posters for The Force Awakens. Oh, was that what you were doing then? Because it seems like you were pandering to racists then. And it's like, yeah, well, that was fucked up, but two wrongs don't make a right, Fox News. You know what I mean? And also, we know how corporations work. The people getting mad that run the Twitter that are at Lucasfilm aren't the same people that are making Finn tiny on the poster in China. Fucking salt it for him. They know that though, but they don't care. But so I'm curious, just as a curious person, I am curious if how this plays out. Would it have been better if it was just Ewan and Moses calling it out and then Ewan backing her up? I'm glad that happened. I think it's better than letting them, Kelly Marie Tran her. That was fucked up. So yeah, but at the same time, like, this isn't the first rodeo. Like, this has happened before. So, the truth is if Reva really, really just didn't hit, it would probably just be, she would just feel like, so what? She'd be like Wade, in that episode. Like, who the fuck was that? Wait, Wade? Who was Wade? Why am I supposed to care about Wade? Like, it would just be like, nobody would give a shit. But this started before the episode even came out, man. So that's, I think, that like the big difference. Mark says, I personally love when they use practical sets over the volume, and that's why I'm hyped for Andor. Yes. I mean, when you get down to it, it's like the volume is going to allow them to make stuff faster. And, in terms of like not needing to build sets and do teardowns and transitions, it takes so much longer to do practical sets. The volume will never be better looking than practical sets. That's just the truth. So it's like, I'll take stuff in the volume over not getting something, and over not getting something for years, because, they only have so much space for practical stuff, like in Southern California, for instance, for the most part. But I do think that they are still learning a lot about what will work, what the audience will accept, and what they won't accept. I brought up the scene in the last episode where Tala is walking into the base on Nur, and like you could literally see she's walking into a flat image. Like, there's just no way of like, not seeing it that way. But also, Lando does the same thing in Return of the Jedi, and this looks way better. So when I look at Return of the Jedi versus Kenobi Episode 4, I'm like, well, I'll take that. That's fine. I could deal with that. We've seen so much worse. And to me, ultimately, it does matter if it looks good, but also if the storytelling is working, then it works for me. Andor looks so much bigger in scope than Kenobi, says Skylar. Yeah, the thing about that is that's pretty much like a Star Wars movie in terms of where they filmed it, what they're using to film it, and the people working on it. So you have a really good crew on that one. Don't mean to shit talk the crew on Kenobi. They're no slouches either. But that crew over at Pinewood is, they've been on so many movies, so many good movies. They filmed Star Wars so many times. Like, a lot of those people have been on a lot of Star Wars productions. And so I think Andor is going to look really good. But I am curious if we're going to run into this weird thing where all of a sudden it's a movie, and then all of a sudden it's a TV show, then it's a movie, and it's a TV show. And if it gives us whiplash, because that's what I think is happening with Kenobi visually at times. I'm not trying to crap on or anything like that, but to say like it looks like a movie the whole time, it doesn't. It looks like a TV show sometimes, it looks like a movie other times, and that's where I think a little bit, of the audience whiplash comes in. Ari says, once Grand Inquisitor wakes up, is he instantly gathering his troops to hunt Reva, or will Vader tell him to stop being a B word? Maybe. I don't really know how that plays out. I just know he comes back this season. So that's all I could really confirm at the moment is that he will return. Darth Del Rio, how's it going, dude? What are your kids' thoughts on the show? That's probably who the show should be working for, rather than us 40-somethings. Yeah, I asked my kids, like, after they watched the 4th episode, they both liked it. And today when we were in the car, we were talking about it. And I said, so what'd you guys think? You guys like it? And he's like, yeah, I liked it. So they had fun with it. that they're liking it. I think what was it? Yeah, the third episode, my son thought was a little bit boring. My daughter I think my daughter likes the Obi-Wan and Leia relationship. I think for her that's like kind of a cool thing that I don't think she's seen on screen before. So I think that's working for her pretty well. But they're really outgoing kids, but then they'll get really shy around the camera sometimes. But I would love to like have them come on and just like, hey, what do you guys think about the show? And ask questions, but I'm not sure if they want to. If they don't want to, I wouldn't make them do it, you know. But if they ever wanted to, they could. And but they liked that last one a lot, and I'm still kind of surprised by like how critical people were of the fourth one, because I thought like that was where I completely misread fandom entirely. I thought that was the one that people were gonna like easily, because it's like Obi-Wan doing what he does in Attack of the Clones, sneaking around. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like what or even Revenge of the Sith. It's like, that's like his thing. It was very, very much, I loved it though. So, Real Bit Maynard says, my best friend literally acts like Rotten Tomatoes is the Bible. Well, that Bible can have fake numbers because people are huge babies. And he lets it dictate his opinions on the show, and it's so annoying. Like, I can barely talk about the show with him anymore. Yeah, it's like, who really, I don't know, who cares, you know, like what the consensus is. I mean, how many times has the consensus been wrong? How many times has a show or a movie win an Academy Award, and it's like, who cares about that movie? You know? And then on the opposite side, how many times is like a song the number one song in the country, but it's the worst song ever? It sucks. It shouldn't exist. Like, yeah. Hopefully it gets over that. Thanks for himself. Mulsuk says, do we have any more Leia scenes coming? We do. I can't get too into it, but she's got stuff to do next episode. She will be going back to Jabim with them. I jokingly asked a couple sources, I was like, why did she go back? And they're all, because there's 6 episodes. So Real Ben Maynard says, for me, I don't want anybody's opinion to dictate my views. Yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, I like trauma movies though too. So what do I know, right? I mean, trauma's the best though. Aria says, Revenge of the Sith has a score of 60. Kenobi got bombed down to 55. Pretty clear that we can't trust Rotten Tomatoes website. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of I don't know. It's really weird that somebody would be like, I feel this way, so I'm gonna bomb it, so then that way it makes me more right. It actually doesn't make you more right. It just makes you nuts. Rosie says, I apologize if you've already covered this, but will the Grand Inquisitor make an appearance in the next episode? I'm not sure if it's this episode or the next one. I just know he will be back. I mistakenly assumed he would be fighting in this episode, and when I went back to my notes and looked at him, I was like, you know what? I don't have anything with the Grand Inquisitor in episode 5, like doing any of the big battle stuff. And I was like, So then I asked around, and I was told, like, yeah, I don't think he's in that. So he will be back though. Aileen says, will we ever see live action battle droids again? Would they be CGI or actual practical robots? Also, what is your thoughts on Star Wars theory complaining about everything? So will we ever see live action battle droids? I think so. I would imagine for sure we will. And what? I don't know. And then would they be CGI or actual practical robots? Probably both. Like what they did in this last episode of Kenobi with the seeker droid. A lot of puppet work went into that. And I also think it's CGI in a few moments too. So I think so anyways. But probably would be a combination of the two, I would think. But I would love to see battle droids back. And then what's your thoughts on Star Wars 3 complaining about everything? I don't care. He could. I hope he has a better time next time. Jimmy says, I don't understand how some channels will have thumbnails that are negative before they even see the episode. Yeah, because they know that it like the thing is like when you have like these like crossover channels where like it's not just Star Wars, and it's like, let's say a large amount of the audience are like Marvel people or DC people or both or whatever, and like Star Wars is a component of it, then they just kind of gauge their audience, and you're able to see what people who watch your videos are also watching. So if you know that they're watching a bunch of like hate videos, then like I could see right now, like kind of I could watch this video, go to the data, and then see what other videos you guys watched. And then I could like literally just say what I think you want to hear or what interests you or gets you to watch. And so that's what they do, you know? Yeah, it's not a very sincere thing. And, I don't know. I wouldn't want to operate like that anyways. So, but that's also why this channel's small and always will be. Um, that and saying if you like the show, like you're a normie and not a real fan. Yeah, don't worry about that. That isn't true at all. They're wrong. And it, makes me really care less about their opinion when they're that wrong. Ben says, I mean, look, people ran Daisy Ridley off Instagram. They were body shaming her when she's literally like petite. Social media can be a rough place. Yeah. Yeah. The internet, Star Wars internet is full of a lot of maniacs. I say that like not lightly. I mean, straight up fucking maniacs. I have dealt with them. Rosie Day says, this is random, but did anyone else think it was kind of funny when Tala smacked the stormtrooper's head and it made him dazed for like 30 seconds? Yeah, people said that it was really pretty fast. I mean, she pulled the helmet down, so I guess he couldn't see. Maybe it was like kind of like hits it, but you know what my eyes go to in that scene is she like it looks like she picks up a gun and then puts it down and picks up a different gun, and I wasn't sure why. I need to watch it again to see it, but I didn't think it was that slow. Personally, I feel like it was fast. But if you watch it again, let me know if it still seems slow to you. When I watch them, I'm probably gonna watch them all again before the next episode. So it helps me. Justin Westwood says, hey, Justin, and thank you for being a channel member, Justin. Really enjoyed the show. I'm glad I stayed off Star Wars internet for a bit. Got the chance just to watch each episode for what it was. Yeah, sometimes it's for the better, for sure. And yeah, like I really don't want this channel to be like negative when I'm not having a good time. Like I don't want this to be like a channel where I have a fit, I have my fits about the stuff I like. That would be boring. Neil Mohammed says, I don't read Star Wars novels or comics. Have any villains been written that can match Vader in terms of being menacing while also having a rich story? Where do they go after Vader? Yeah, that's the thing, Neil, is that like the fandom will sit down, the people who read books, the Star Wars books, and they'll be like, oh my God, like Revan is like the best thing ever. And so people are like, yeah, Revan's like, okay, I don't know. And so it really like a character like for me, like Thrawn worked really well on the page. I've never really loved Thrawn in live action, or I'm sorry, in animation, for instance. I've never really appreciated him like I did in a book. And so I'm still curious to see, like, for instance, does Thrawn work in live action in the Ahsoka series? Am I intrigued or not? Does he seem to, because there's a lot of like things that you can do in a novel with subtleties that's a lot more complicated to do on screen. And but I'm fingers crossed. I'm hoping so. I'm hoping that there's something interesting. Also, Moff Gideon looks pretty cool with this Mando helmet. Not saying he's Darth Vader cool, but it looks pretty cool. I like Gideon with the Mando helmet quite a bit, really. Rosie Days says, this is random, but did anyone else think it was funny when? Oh, okay, sorry, I already read that one. All right, when was the wait? Where was the battle where the horses were on that Star Wars destroyer film during Rise of Skywalker? That shit was epic as fuck. Where was it filmed? It was filmed at Pinewood. Justin Westwood says, the rough one shot of Vader's castle was peak Whiplash. Oh, you mean like where it looks really like the CGI looks like super good, and then all of a sudden it kind of looks like you're on the TV set thing, like the back and forth between that kind of stuff. That was my take on it anyway. Malsuk says, I noticed a weird looking run from Reva during the speeder escape scene. Could the volume's floor space be the reason for a lot of the action scenes feeling weird? I think so. I think it's totally possible. We were trying to figure out if they were walking on a treadmill in one scene. We weren't really sure. I want to ask a friend of mine who works on it. See, I'm like, you guys ever use a treadmill on that? I'm curious. Real Ben Maynard. The funny thing is that all the general audience people I know just around me in real life who are not paying attention to the online discourse are enjoying the show so far. Yeah, that's the thing is the average person. It goes both ways. It's like the average person either has fun or doesn't, and doesn't really just hang up on things and get bent out of shape and stuff. And the actual fans, some of them get really bent out of shape, and then it starts to make it seem like that's what everybody thinks or whatever. But those people do tend to eventually buy into some sort of nerd discourse or something. So Miss Sunflower says, I mean, look what people did to Ahmed Best. Dude nearly unalived himself. There are some really effed up Star Wars fans out there. Then there's the Daisy, Kelly Marie, and now Moses situation. Yes. Yeah, that is. I mean, I've seen some of the worst people I've ever met. I've met through the Star Wars thing. Some of the best people too, for the record. But there are, like I said, some real fucking maniacs. Some real scary weirdos. Just people I could only call evil, and they're relentless and cruel, and they're definitely there. So, it is what it is. But so I get why they warned her. I hope Andor gets received well, since it has the political side in it. It'll be fun. Yeah, me too. I also think Andor is going to be a lot more grown up. So I would imagine there's going to be a lot of people that are like, it's boring. But is it really going to be boring or not? That is the real question. Because there's some people that would say House of Cards season 1, scandals and stuff aside, who just saw House of Cards season 1 would go, that's intriguing as fuck. And there's some people that be like, that's boring because it's politics. And Andor is going to be way more exciting than obviously House of Cards season 1. But that's my point, is some people will just never look at something if it mentions, the Senate. They're like, oh, I don't know how that works. It's too complicated. So I'm looking forward to Andor. Me too. I'm looking forward to Andor. Kenobi is still the one I wanted to see the most this year. So kind of in it right now, but it is going to be nice once it's all out and I can just watch it all the time and then start looking forward to Andor. What if they move the second fight to episode 5? Now that would be a twist. I know, right? Mark says, every person wants a fan fictionary flashback sequence with them in Clone Wars armor. Personally, the flashbacks have to be purposefully instead of just being seeing flashbacks just for the sake of it. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I think they did. That's why I support their decision to go about it the way that they did. It's like it plays into the culmination of the story. It gives Obi-Wan information that he needs, that he always had the whole time, and but helps him realize it. And I like where it's going, as opposed to just being like, oh god, this is what people want to see. Because that, if they did do the other thing, the Clone Wars flashbacks, and it was a whole battle going on and it was 10 minutes, it would be cool on the first night. It would. But over time it would be like, who cares? And so but I do hope that if this ends up spawning or inspiring them to do something with those guys set during the Clone Wars, maybe a war movie with them when they're younger or something, with their characters in this battle in the Clone Wars or something like that. I'd be down to watch it. If you see what I watch, my only things I view are your channel. No, well, I mean, I can't go see what does Ben watch and just look at Ben stuff. It'll be your viewers, like a lot of them watched, and it'll say those kind of stats or whatever. If you do YouTube and you have a YouTube channel, there's the YT Studio app, the YouTube Studio app, and you could get a lot of that stuff in it. So personally, with me, I feel Thrawn was bootstrapped just because the Rebels being on Disney XP. Yeah, and that's probably true. And it was exciting to see Thrawn in that, but also, was it the best place to put the guy? I don't think so. Neil says, I don't think this channel will remain small. I see big things in your future. Your name in lights. stretch Hummers and champagne glass shaped jacuzzis. I like that, Neil. I like that. But no. Thomas says, all I know, Daisy Ridley workout instruction clip cheers everyone up. It's wholesome. I know what you mean, dude. I totally know exactly what you mean.
I'm horny. Who cares?
So, yeah. Anyways, what else we got? I think we kind of hit on my little topics here for the day, but I feel like film critics and journalists get let off the hook for the treatment of Ahmed and Jake. They had much larger voices back then than the fans did. That's true. It was definitely a thing. Like I think Ron Howard had to take out wrote a letter to, I think it might have been the Hollywood Reporter, telling off a writer from that and stuff. And it's definitely, I mean, it's so long ago now. It's a different world. People are worse and better in different ways and stuff like that. But you're just always going to have that weird amount of the population that just sucks. At the end of the day, is what it comes down to. And there's really not a lot you can do about it. But when somebody goes and they do enter into a Star Wars thing, it's like, it's what's going to happen. And I think with Phantom Menace, nobody knew what was going to happen. Was it going to be the best thing ever? Everyone thought it would be the best thing ever, no matter what, because it was George Lucas. He was finally doing something else. And looking back on it, regardless, I love Phantom Menace, but looking back on it, it's like culturally we were kind of foolish to be like, oh, a guy who hasn't made a movie in like 15 years is going to really rock the next one. It's like, it's not really how it usually goes, is it? Miss Sunflower says, I wonder how those current atmospheres among Star Wars fans will affect Mando season 3 and Ahsoka. Well, Mando season 3 is already like in the can. That shit's done. So not at all. And Ahsoka probably already train already left the station. That one's already, it's being made. So I don't think too much, but thankfully all I'm seeing for Mando and Ahsoka are excitement. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about just like the atmosphere around it, like not how will it change the production. I see what you're saying. Yeah. I don't know. Like when it comes to those shows, like Mando's finally starting to, I think, hit a stage where people will start to have expectations about what it should be, what it shouldn't be, and all that kind of jazz. So, but hopefully, but at the same time, I mean, like, how many times can people complain where it's just like, I'm going to take like a negative slant and then people will still listen to them talk about it. I don't know. But for me, it's like, if it's predictable that you hate something, then I wouldn't keep watching it. So I kind of think that, like, if it's not good, if people are sincere and like it's just not good, they'll just stop covering it. It'll just like fizzle out. So Oogie Go says they complained after they found out that he didn't do it, just something else for people to demand moaning's sake. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens. I'm a G1 fan since I was 6, 1977. I dig the Kenobi series. Sue me. It's cool, man. I dig it too. I'm very, very happy with it. So yeah, it makes me jazzed. So I'm good. Eric says, did you finish all of Lego Star Wars? I'm almost there. So I went through that like break because my Xbox died, and then I got the new Xbox, and then I put the game in and installed it. And then it was like a big update to get it to the next gen graphics, and I haven't played it since. So I'm not done with it, but Fortnite came out with the Darth Vader thing right now. So it's like working, doing stuff. Me and Bespin get on. We grind out our Fortnite characters, trying to get to level 100. I hit level 42, I think, today. So I'm like 42% of the way there. But after I get Darth Vader, and if there are no variants, I will go back to Lego Star Wars. But I kind of want to play Fallen Order now, and I want with the updated graphics on the new system. And after watching the Kenobi series, I kind of want to go back and revisit it and look at how everything interfaces. Arya says, we need a show about Amber Heard chopping aliens that look like fingers. Real Ben says, I feel like at this point, the Mandalorian is Teflon just because of Grogu. Well, that scoop I had about Grogu in the mech, in the IG-11 mech. Well, Bespin did a poll on it, and it had 12,000 voters in it. 6,000 liked it, 6,000 hate the idea. Now, obviously, when they see it, it's going to be way, way cool. But what it does show is that people are like, Grogu is a Jedi. And it's like, no, he's not. He quit Jedi school. So we'll see. Hey, Revenge Guy. Keep partying, man. I'll be around tomorrow, I think. If not Sunday. So I'll hit you up. Or hit me up. Alki Ghost says, do you know if we're getting a Vader versus Ahsoka in live action or not? I can't say for certain. I know that Darth Vader's coming back, though. So on MakingStarWars.net, I did an article about how they were reassembling the team, and I think it's for Ahsoka, but I cannot confirm 100% that it's for Ahsoka, but I bet you it is. Eric says, Reva should marry Kenobi and do a whole Star Wars modern family type show to piss off MAGA chuds. Yeah, that would be good. But I will be back probably Monday, but if I have something cool to talk about before now and then, or there's any breaking news, I will I'll jump back on. One last thing, Ryan says, episode 5 going to be good, Mr. Jason. I have heard that episode 5 is very good for what it's worth. I've heard people say good things, and I know someone who's seen it and said it was very good. So yeah, but doesn't mean it's going to be. You'll have to decide for yourself. And like Arya once said,
I like spaceships.
All right. So anyways, I'll see everyone maybe tomorrow, but probably Monday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, have that bell thing on, and leave comments if you have anything to say, and I'll try to answer it either in the comments or on the show. And so everyone have a good weekend and be cool. And if you're playing Fortnite, I hope you get level 100 tonight. Do it. You can do it. Get your Darth Vader. All right. Night, everybody.
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on,